All right, all right, all right. Let's check my mic. Perfect, perfect. Let's check my visuals. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let me share the stream here. And then I will go public. Gaming news. And then we will add a picture. We will add a little emoji here. Red circle. There we go. There we go. We'll just wait a little bit here. I'll try to modify this video or whatever once we get it posted. Just want to make sure everything's good. We also have to go to actually copy and paste that, don't I? Can I show desktop? No, not that. There we go. Almost there. This should work just fine. All right. Well, we will go live here. Unlisted. All right. We are live. Oops, let's go back to my camera. There we go. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we've got some hot gaming news. We got some touchy subjects here, some things that have made a few people angry. So we're just going to be hopping into that and discussing my opinions, which apparently it's a hot take. I don't know. I did not expect it to be that hot of a take, but it's a hot take apparently, and we're going to be talking about some other things that have been announced. Tarkov, we've got Ready or Not. That's the big one. The big controversy that I just don't, truthfully, I just don't really understand. We've got the new Ghost Recon game we're going to be talking about, going through. Battlefield 6, the campaign, just some leaks there. So that's, oh yeah, and some Call of Duty stuffs and CSGO, which probably not a lot of people care about that, but that's what we're going to be doing today. So thank you for stopping by and joining in. I hope you guys have had a good week so far. Tomorrow starts my vacation, and looking forward to vacationing. We don't get a ton of that, but I've got my fishing poles ready, got my kids, my wife ready, the kids' fishing poles. We're going to be doing a little bit of 4th of July because it's Freedom Week and Freedom Weekend, and we are very, very excited for that. So today, what I wanted to do with this stream, and sort of what I want to do with this channel in general, is be centered on the camera, and also just give my thoughts, like be a more personable kind of thing. On my main channel, I do a lot of produced, I won't say produced, but just some more in-depth stuff, and this is just kind of off the cuff and interesting in my opinion. So we're going to be doing that today. We're going to be going through some hot stuff. So we're going to let some people filter in what I need to do. And I thought Stream Beats was free for anybody, but it does not seem to be the case anymore. So I'm going to need to get some background music in here some way, shape, or form. I don't know Don't know exactly how that's gonna look, but I need to get that in here. But as we go about this here, I might just use this as like a podcast too. So you might be able to find this on Spotify. If that is the case, welcome, listener. We've got the X up, or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it. We've got gaming news. This is kind of how I want to structure it from now on. Is I want to bring up the Twitters here, so you can see my Logitech is being kind of funky here. I don't know what's going on. Why is Gaijin up? Active Matter, Telegram. Are we doing okay there, G Hub? It keeps like losing and finding my mouse here. First and foremost, some Metal Gear Solid news. It is coming out the 28th of January, February, March, May, June, July, August. There we go. That is the 8th month. And truthfully, I haven't been paying much attention to Metal Gear Solid, at least not the production of it, the ads and stuff. I really have not seen a whole lot, but I did like Metal Gear Solid 5 when I was younger. I did enjoy that quite a bit. So we'll just, I mean, we'll see. I'll probably try and play it in August, even though I didn't get to Death Stranding, which is like a Kojima he definitely wanted to play or to make another Metal Gear, so he sort of squeezed that in. But we've got some Tarkov news. A couple different things, actually. First and foremost, we've got the hardcore wipe. So you can see on here the Tarkov hardcore wipe going on here. This is apparently going to be for everybody. So you can't really opt in. As far as I can tell, you can't opt in. A lot of people think that this is going to be absolutely abysmal when it comes to player count, and it may be. But we'll see. I think this might be the last one before the full release, before 1.0. So they're just giving it a shot here to see what's going on, and we'll see how that works out or doesn't work out. I don't know. The flea market is going to be disabled on this wipe, so if you're a big fan of the flea market like myself, that's the only time that I can actually get gear. You're gonna have a tough time for sure. Increase item requirements for hideout zones. I've hardly even built up my hideout, but I do know it can be a very difficult thing. So that is something to just sort of be aware of for that. I don't know if I'm going to play this wipe or not. I don't even know, like, most of what I play is the hardcore version of it because I hardly get the flea market anyway. And I don't build up my hideout. Hideout zones don't require found in raid items, so you can just purchase them. Good or bad, I don't know. I'd like the easier the better for me, but I am also a dad and can't play Tarkov full time. So limited hideout ammo crafts, okay, and reduce spawn chance of rare loot. So a lot of people are going to be playing with lower tier loot for a longer period of time, right? They're not going to be finding all those fancy things unless they go in and, you know, kill Killa or something, or kill another boss. Can't think of another one's name right now. Shows how much I really am in depth with Tarkov. I like Tarkov. It's one of those games that I can't keep up with fully, but this is an interesting thing that they've added, and I wonder if they saw this. I don't know when they thought of this, but Gray Zone Warfare just added this recently, so I wonder if they're like, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Probably said it like that too. So he comes up here, this video, yada, yada, yada. They're showing off a few things, few teasers and stuff. And then you see, not that, but you see, ready? 3, 2, 1. Nope, not sawing off that. I don't know why they're doing that. Almost there. Sorry, guys. A dragging animation. So if you don't play Tarkov now, if you haven't played Tarkov now, what's interesting is that when you die, right? There is no down state. When your health goes down, you're done for in that raid. You can no longer hop back in. You can no longer jump back up and walk around, right? However, there is this dragging animation. So either either one, they're allowing the dragging to be brought into this so you can revive your buddy. Could be a thing. Since technically in Tarkov, I think once you die, you're considered knocked out because you go back and you're back in your hideout, right? Technically. And then either that or you're just dragging people so that you can loot them better. Which could be as well, but it's a very interesting little teaser that Tarkov showed off here because it's a nice mechanic. I like the idea of it. I just don't know. I don't know how many people are going to use it. So we'll see. I don't know. Yep, just dragging them, and then I'm sure there's a bunch of other teasers in here, but I don't really feel like going through all of them, so I'm not gonna. And then, well, there's a hardcore wipe. What else? Metal Gear, Ready or Not. We're not touching Ready or Not just yet. Okay, we're gonna bring up Ghost Recon. So this is something I'm actually pretty excited about. Bring it up on my screen here. This is something I'm pretty excited about. This is Insider Gaming, so it's the Tom Henderson. They've got leaks and everything like that. Make sure you can see that. Exclusive. Next mainline Ghost Recon game is heading to internal alpha later this year, which is great news. I think it says like expected maybe a 2026 release date or something like that, but it's great news because of the way that they've portrayed or that they've seen footage of the game, and the way that they talk about it in this is just very interesting. And for me, it's great. Not a lot of people like that. Not everybody's going to love it because not everybody is a first person gamer, right? But a lot of people did like the Ghost Recon in the third person format. And for me personally, cinematically, like that's how I found my buddy Custer plays. Just great content that way. Really, really cinematic. My buddy Deef too. I met them both because I found their Ghost Recon content, and it was really, really well done. So I'm hoping, and what I'm thinking, if they're smart, what I think they're going to do is take that, have a button like in Arma, third person and first person. I think they're probably going to try to do that, but let's go over this. Insider Gaming has learned the next mainline Ghost Recon game, codename Over, is going to be going in its internal alpha later this year. According to several sources, the game will enter internal alpha in fall of 2025. So coming up here, a few months. Fall of 2025, and Ubisoft sets new internal milestone for its major projects following the announcements that will delay its major IPs. Ghost Recon, codename Over, is expected to launch sometime in 2026, with sources indicating that the internal alpha to final release could take around 12 months. So in theory, the next Ghost Recon game could launch sometime in fall 2026. Maybe. I mean, I'm down for it. Truthfully, let me just be transparent here. I didn't play the other Ghost Recon. My very, very first Ghost Recon experience, and the one that left the biggest impression on me, is the what was it? The very first Ghost Recon, where you had the little yellow circle, like it showed where the enemies were. There was no gun on the screen, right? It was the first person experience. It was a lot of fun. I was playing out my little compacts on my. That's the first time I realized that there were different processors. I didn't know a thing about computers, right? But there were different processors, and so I was. It was a very interesting game. It did crash quite a bit for me. I think it was a Pentium that I was playing on, and it wasn't great. But it was a lot of fun. I thought it was so cool that you could sort of command your players, and it was one of my first person experiences, and I really, really enjoyed it. So it's coming for content in the report that the next mainline Ghost Recon game would take a more military simulation, or milsim, if you didn't know that, approach with a first-person perspective and a focus on fictional name and war. Now, this is good. Like, either way, the pace of the other game of Breakpoint and Wildlands looked pretty good. I mean, I know that they also consulted some military vets and everything like that, and I'm sure that they've done that with this. But to specify milsim and not like an open world adventure is interesting. So when you think milsim, you think of highly realistic first person. I guess Arma isn't always first person, but first person. So it should be interesting. Footage sent to Insider Gaming under the condition that it will not be made public. So we have not seen it, but the old Tommy has. Shows a game somewhat similar to Modern Warfare series or something akin to the tactical shooter Ready or Not. So I think I played Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. And that was a pretty cool game. Very interesting with all the gadgets and gizmos and stuff. But to say it's going to be more like the Modern Warfare or tactical shooter Ready or Not, it means there's probably going to be things like drones that you can utilize, I would imagine, but not too techy. I think in Advanced Warfighter you had that invisibility cloak. If I remember correctly, you had an invisibility cloak and stuff, which is cool, but it's not exactly milsim and it's not exactly Modern Warfare. So I don't know. It should be good, and I'm. As for when Ubisoft will officially unveil the game, it's unclear, but sources within Ubisoft believe that the company is likely to keep it under wraps for next year. Okay, so they think that they're going to give it just a few months to release after being announced. That being said, remake of Prince of Persia, yeah, okay. Anything, nothing really there, but the big takeaway of this is that it's going to be a first-person shooter, and which to me is great. To me, that's a little bit more immersive. It's a bit more realistic. It's a bit more enjoyable than a third-person shooter. Not to say like third-person shooters don't have their place, but I personally like first-person shooters much better. I get more into the game. I feel like the game is I'm more in the game. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but I think that's going to. One thing that I liked about Ghost Recon is the graphics. The graphical fidelity looked great. However, when you went into first person mode, you could tell it wasn't a first person game. So one of those things that like those third person graphics can sometimes do is with the grass flowing and stuff like that. They can kind of ease off on that because the camera view is a little bit further away. And they don't have to put as much detail into those, right? Even though they still looked really good. You could just tell that it was a third-person game. So I am looking forward to that, to having a more milsim experience, and that's just where I thrive. That's what I really enjoy. So that's nice. That's neato. And then we've got a Battlefield 6 campaign. Let's look at Call of Duty first, though, because this is Call of Duty. This right here is Call of Duty. So this is not the Call of Duty I grew up with 100%. And some people might like this. If this is your thing, let me know down below. I'm a little confused, but you've got this. You got Beavis and Butthead in there. I don't know what's going on, truth be told. This is coming. Data miners found it. The Beavis and Butthead is on there. Let me see if I can't find that. Beavis and Butthead. Like it's whatever. I don't care that much. It's just kind of a silly thing. Here, let's take a look at this PlayStation UK tweet here. Yeah, look at them go. Just look at them go. That's what they're doing in Call of Duty, and I don't know who this is selling to, but they wouldn't do it if it weren't selling. I don't think anyway, and I don't know when the last time Beavis and Butthead were actually relevant, so I don't know who they're appealing to at the moment, but to each their own. I don't play the game anymore. There's no reason for me to play the game anymore. It's not a thing. But then American Dad is coming, so you can enjoy that if you want. I don't know. Let me know if you're going to buy that. Let me know if you buy the skin. Then we've got Battlefield 6 campaign. And then we'll talk about Ready or Not here, because that's obviously the most interesting thing. So the Battlefield 6 campaign, I have not heard a ton of good things about Battlefield 6 at the moment. At least they've spent like $400 million and climbing, I think is what I heard. $400 million to make this. I've seen a lot of the leaks when it comes to destruction, and that looks cool. And the gameplay a little bit looks really good. They've I mean, released quite a bit of that, or at least they've shown off quite a bit. I'm gonna make my camera smaller here. There we go. Shown off quite a bit and leaked it, or they didn't take a ton of it down. And so let's dive into this article and see what it says, see what they're talking about when it comes to this 6-hour long campaign. Why even have a campaign at 6 hours? That's like a advanced single player mission. I don't know. Battlefield 2042 was released in 2021 without a campaign, and many fans of the franchise mourn the loss of single player portion. True. Traditionally, I mean, because look, you like the writing. Without it, nothing matters, right? Like nobody cares about the characters in Battlefield 2042, right? Nobody has any connection to them whatsoever. There's some old lady medic running around, and people are just hanging. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But to have that, if they would have maybe had a single player portion or a what the heck is a campaign, they may have done a little bit better. It may have been more of a connection. It may have been an experience that like, hey, I've Falk, I have a connection to her because I saw what she did in the game. I saw what kind of hero she could be. And so that's where those connections come in. And anything else outside of that kind of makes it pointless. There's no reason to have any connection. You can put a backstory in all you want. Like, it's the same thing with Apex Legends. You can put a backstory in all you want. You could do some comics with them, but you're not going to get a connection to them like you would in an actual campaign, because you get to see the player's character. You get to understand it. You get that back and forth between other characters. You get the whole scope of understanding what this person means to other people, what this person means in a story. And so you're going to connect with that. And Battlefield 2042 not having that just was a very, very big misstep. And it, as a hero shooter, even though people didn't want the hero shooter, it may have done a little bit better on launch had it had that. But gamers are unsatisfied in everything. So who the heck knows? They could have gotten the same reception. I personally was not a fan of the hero shooter thing because I'm not a huge fan of it in general. I think it takes away a lot of freedom and just adds a little bit of nonsense. But to each their own, right? Traditionally, Battlefield campaigns have been relatively meaty, emotional, and deeply immersive. Exactly what I was talking about. If you're deeply immersed in the story, in the characters, you're going to be deeply immersed and enjoy them more in a multiplayer sort of, I'll call it arena, but like a Battlefield, just an experience where you get to be them or get to fight against them, right? You're going to care a little bit more about what they're wearing, what they've got on. So from a business perspective, that should improve microtransactions, because like everybody wants those cool ghost skins, everybody wants the cool Reyes skins. Everybody wants Captain Price. So, I mean, geez, you know the name Captain Price. So obviously there's an emotional connection because they've stuck with that. They were smart enough and had good enough writers for most of them, but the last one, not so much. But yeah, that's why so many fans are banking on the campaign of Battlefield 6, not the final title. Obviously, it's not called Battlefield 6 that we know of yet, being something special. Unfortunately, Tom says that might not be the case. In a recent report, it was claimed that those working on Battlefield 6 have stressed the game's campaign is just 6 hours long. It might be subject to further reductions before it hits the market. What? How long should a campaign be? That begs the question. How long do you think a campaign should be? I think at least double digits, right? I mean, even though you're going to spend most of your time in the multiplayer, and they look at it as, yeah, most of your time should be spent on multiplayer because it's going to make us the most money. Like 6 hours? What are you doing? I don't know. I mean, I as a father, as a guy with a full-time job, I could sit down in the morning and sit down in the evening and probably play that before my kids wake up or after they wake up or after they go to bed. it doesn't seem like you're going to make a connection in 6 hours. I don't know. Not so big. Battlefield 6 is a culmination of several studio effort. The campaign has the dedicated attention of EA Motive, but the likes of Criterion and DICE are also contributing to the creation of the single-player portion of the FPS epic. I don't know if I'd use that word. In the recent report by Ars Technica, the development cycle of Battlefield 6 was explored at length. The write-up was backed by statements given from both current and former Electronic Arts developers, and some of the tidbits they've revealed are quite eye-opening. For instance, it has been claimed EA's leadership team wants a player count exceeding 100 million. We're actually going to look at this chart because I saw something interesting when it comes to that. When the game hits the market with a free-to-play Battle Royale component. So they're going to have Battle Royale free-to-play. They're going to have the single-player campaign or co-op. That'd be cool. They're going to have the multiplayer, large-scale, PvP warfare kind of game. And then with 100 million players, are they going to have mobile? 100 million players is impressive. Are they hoping to get mobile? Because Call of Duty, didn't Warzone mobile just say they're not going to receive any more updates? So just an interesting thing here. We're going to read that though. Battlefield 6 will have a 6-hour-long campaign, which isn't anywhere near close to what we were expecting. Predictions had been floating around 10-hour mark, like double digits at least, with the belief that this would be the largest and most ambitious Battlefield campaign ever made. Wrong. It gets worse though. Oh geez. See, I haven't read this article, so it gets worse though. The report mentions that as of May 2025, the only part of the game not passing Gate 3 was a single-player campaign because of many discrepancies remaining. So they had a bad writer, right? Single player in itself is massively late. It's the latest part of the game. Without an enormous patch on day one or early access to the game, it's unrealistic that they're going to be able to release it to what they need it to do. Things got more alarming. Woo. They might have to cut part of the single player out in order for the game to release with a single player campaign on it. Or they would have to severely work through the summer and into the later part of the year and try to fix that. Wow. Anyone who's been jonesing for a solid Battlefield campaign might be left out in the cold. This is going to hurt them. If they do this is going to hurt them in the long run. You need... let me continue. It's been more than 7 years since the single-player Battlefield portion was surfaced. 2018, Battlefield 5. Are you holding out hope? Battlefield 6. Okay, let's chat. Let's chat here. I'm currently in sales. I took a job in sales. I now sell fancy custom wheelchairs to people. Here's the thing about sales. The emotional connection, the connection in general is important, but the emotional connection is a strong thing. Not that like you overdo it, because you don't want to overshare, right? But having some sort of personal connection, I'll say that, personal connection, like, hey, I can relate to this. Hey, that's what I want. That's the ideal for me. Like if they see a hero, they can look at that and be like, hey, that's who I want to be. I want to be that player. I want to be that character. Having that is crucial to the success of this game, to the success of the microtransactions, to just overall success in a multiplayer world if you're focused on microtransactions, which this game is going to do if there's a free-to-play model. To just skimp past the campaign is such a huge oversight, and I think DICE or EA, I think they're really underestimating how video games can connect to people and the experience that gamers want. They're really underestimating the pull that a single player campaign can have, even though it doesn't make them a whole lot of money in itself. You don't always do that. Like for me, I go in to places. I offer what I can offer. I speak with therapists and I say, hey, here's what we have to offer. These are the things that maybe other companies aren't doing. Do you have anything that maybe you need taken care of right away? Do you have something that I'm not going to get paid for, right? Or at least no commission or anything. Do you have this bracket, this person's wheelchair, the bracket on their wheelchair is broken? Hey, let me take care of that for you. Okay? I'm not going to make the company any money that way, right? I'm not going to do that. But what I am doing is coming down to a personal level, connecting with the person because they realize that I'm there to help. Because I am, ultimately, I am there to help them and their patients. And doing that, having that good, I'll call it customer service. I'll call it a single player campaign customer service for EA. Not having that is a very, very big mistake because it's going to just leave a lot of people not caring, which is going to ultimately show in their microtransactions and the player retention. Because if you're really connected emotionally to a game and to players, to characters, you're going to want to spend more time in it. It's just it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what they're looking at right now or why they would try to cut it. I mean, maybe because they're trying to hit this deadline, but dudes, focus on this first, man. Focus on your customer service first so that one, you gain back favor in the gaming community because you're already not doing too hot, guys. You're not doing too hot. You got some problems lately. And so one, you bring back the trust there. You bring back the incentive, the purpose to playing your game. And two, you make more money because people like your stuff, man. I don't know. Just seems silly to me. It could be. I don't have their charts. I don't know, but it is very. To me, it's a very dumb decision, especially if they want to get 100 million players. EA wants. Let's show that on screen there. EA wants the Battlefield 6 to hit 100 million players with no single player campaign. How are you going to draw them to it? How are you going to keep them playing in a free-to-play battle royale? How are you going to keep them buying things in a free-to-play battle royale? What is the purpose of buying them? Unless you're going to do Beavis and Butthead, you can try that. You'll get 40-year-old dads in there. Maybe they're the main whales. I don't know. But like I'm more apt to spend money on something that I care about than I am to Beavis and Butthead. I don't care about Beavis and Butthead. I didn't care about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't care about that stuff. But maybe I'm not the target audience anymore. Maybe I'm getting old, which we'll talk about here in a second. Because, yeah, so they wanted to do 100 million users. Check this out. As of 2022, the entire franchise hadn't managed to sell 100 million copies. EA is, those execs are, they're on something, man. I don't know what they're thinking. User target of 100 million. And the entire franchise hasn't managed to sell 100 million copies. They're really, really banking on this free-to-play here. And maybe mobile. But like, oh. Let's see what they say. EA employee said, obviously Battlefield has never achieved those numbers before. It's important to understand that over about the same period, 2042 has only gotten 22 million, which is more than I expected. More than I expected. But Ars Technica report also mentions that it is the most expensive Battlefield game ever created, with a budget sitting at almost $500 million. Microsoft, a lot of places, just had gaming just had a ton of layoffs. And I'll get to the ready or not right after this, Lee. The gaming world just had a ton of layoffs today. It is the 2nd of July. And all this tells me is there's a ton of bloat. I talked to a developer earlier today. I had a phone call with him. And they're building a game. It's going to release in early access, but it's a very small studio with 10 people. You see games like Road to Vostok. It's got one person with some people helping out every now and then, some contractors. But like, what are you doing? How do you get how do you make a game for $500 million? What is all the staff doing in most of their time? I can't personally, I can't think of like what all the staff would be for. $400 billion. I mean, over the years, yeah, and you're investing in new tech, you're trying to figure some of this stuff out, but dear goodness gracious. Anyway, so there's that. That's the Battlefield stuff. I hope the title is nice. I hope it does okay. Let's do Book Mario gaming news. All right, let's get to this here. Let's get to the Ready or Not, because right now they're being review bombed. I have some thoughts on this. Lee the Beagle asks, what do you think about Ready or Not Problem? Personally, I don't care about it anymore. I've just seen so many titles that have just become apathetic to. Here's my hot take. Okay. Here's my hot take. I think gamers are generally bored. I think that I shouldn't say you guys, people that are upset are just bored and they want to be vocal about something. Because this to me is a big giant nothing burger. And to make it into something that you review bomb it for, like I've seen some posts on Twitter that they're like, oh, that's it, I'm not buying this game, or they'll unwish listed it or something. Like, what? Really? So okay, let's talk about this. If you don't know anything about what's going on, is Ready or Not has changed some of their content ish going forward. With the PC release, what they've had to do was censor, use that term very loosely here, censor, to satisfy sort of the console environment. They've had to cover up a few things, and it's very minimal, right? You're gonna, like, if you're on the outside and you haven't dove deep into this controversy, you're gonna be like, that's it. And maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I'm just the one that's I just don't care enough about these things that it seems silly to me. Okay, maybe you're just a hardcore, you gaming needs to be everything I needed to be all the time, but like, dude, you gotta touch grass every now and then. Have kids, find a wife. This stuff is not gonna matter. Okay. And people say that they went back on their word. Okay, let's talk about that too. But Ready or Not, the first-person tactical shooter of Void Interactive, is being review bombed on Steam due to changes made to the game to secure its release on consoles. So let's talk about that first, okay? So in order to release on consoles, release on consoles with a general rating that's going to be appropriate. So obviously they want the M rating. What's your favorite adult-only game? I don't have one. I don't even know one. Right? I have never purchased one. I've never even hardly looked at one. I even as a kid, I couldn't even find any games that were adult only. Like, even as a teen, I should say. I wasn't looking for them that hard as a kid. But I was just always curious, what is this adult only rating? They don't want to be in that range because they're not going to get any sales. Okay. Makes sense, right? Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. If you're going to release a game, if you're going to try this hard to release a game onto consoles, so bring something new to consoles, then you should probably have it rated for consoles, right? It's sort of out of their control because it's more of a legal thing. It is not like last time when there was some pushback from, like, I think Kotaku, from game journalists to censor the game because it was too touchy of a subject, and it's not about that, man. This is a legal requirement. They didn't cave to the journalists. So just breathe, take a breath, try to reason yourself through this a little bit, okay? So let's go back to this article. In a statement posted to Steam, Void said it had to adjust levels of gore, nudity, violence, and the mistreatment of children ahead of the July 15th console release. And rather than maintaining multiple versions with different assets and mechanics, that's important too, that would increase the likelihood of bugs. some aspects of the PC version also have been revised. Throughout this console support process, we've done the utmost not only to make changes when they are flagged as absolutely required by our first-party partners, and any changes aim to remain faithful to the original tonality of the game, so there is no reason to be alarmed. You're literally, once I go through the list of the things that are going to change, you're going to be like, that's okay. That said, it admitted that if the change required was, example, just a texture swap, Void could keep the original intent of the PC version. But if the change involved transforming an entire asset, like adding clothing to a character, this was less feasible. Okay. So that's in regards to bugs, especially, because there's going to be crossplay. So in order to maintain the crossplay, you really, to avoid those bugs, you want to have the same versions going on, right? Some of the changes outlined by the team include preventing players from dismembering enemies once they're dead. Okay, so that's the first one. So you can dismember enemies when they're alive. You can shoot their arms off, okay? You can keep doing that, but once they're incapacitated, you can't shoot their arm off. That's the first change. So literally just a state. If a person is like this and then they go down, that you can't do it there. You can do it like this, okay? In compliance. Is that a big deal? No, of course not. Of course not. If so, another deep breath, okay? The changes with the console version are small enough that people wouldn't notice if we didn't say anything, but we want to be transparent. Like, I think, here's the thing. I think the fact that they did this, just being upfront with it and saying, hey, we have had to change a couple things so that our console rating isn't adult only. I think that that's a good thing. Like, that's communication from a dev. Otherwise, people are going to be playing it and be like, hey, they've had to censor this. And then there's going to be an even bigger backlash. But I think that them being upfront and telling you, I think it shows some goodwill. And like, Ready or Not does some good things. I just saw that they've partnered with Regiment, or with the Regiment. They're working for veterans. They're doing some stuff with veterans. Like, if you're super upset about this because of these changes, then like, what? There's no goodwill. There's no grace in this area. Like, why are you so angry, man? Just silly. It's largely just evidence of nudity that's altered, and texture changes don't affect the PC version. So there's some textures on like computer screens that they blur out on the console and not the PC, I think. Now some PC players letting Void know, do not buy this game. Do not support a company like Void Interactive. Okay. Here, you can't see that yet. There it is. Do not buy this game. Do not support a company like Void Interactive. What? They pushed back on a game journalist because they thought it was silly, because it was. And now don't support a company. So you do one minuscule thing, and now you just can't support them. All right. They made their money from you, the PC players on Steam, and now out of sheer greed, they're appeasing console market regulators by censoring the game to meet their demands. Okay, let's just go through this, because we might go through it later in the things. Okay. Master Chief, I'll address that. I still don't get why the console can't just be M-rated and never stop kids from playing those games. Okay, yeah, I'll address that in a second, okay? Here are the changes. Number 1, you can't shoot off body parts when the person is dead. Okay? All right. Number 2, they have removed stopped convulsing. There's a level that you go up and you find a child on a bed, and generally in the PC version, she's convulsing. She's puking up blood or whatever. They've made it so she's asleep. Okay, so you don't get to see a little girl puke anymore. They have increased. There is a suspect who has a ghillie suit on, and it isn't covering his lower appendage. They've covered up that. And they've covered up some female characters. I don't know how extensive it's going to be. They've covered up some female characters' body parts. There is one suspect that I believe that you go into storage thing. I think. So they've added some clothing to that. That's it. That's it. Like, is this going to affect your overall gameplay experience? No, it's not, because you're still gonna. Here's the thing with Ready or Not, the environmental storytelling is so good in this game that even like with those tiny changes, that's not going to take away from the experience. It literally is just going to bring this to consoles so that players can see things. Like, so players can, so PC or console gamers can experience new things. And I don't know why people don't want them to enjoy that. I don't know. I have no idea. All right, let me get to some comments here. I still don't get why console can't just be M-rated. That never stopped kids from playing those games. Look at GTA COD. You're right, but this is Ready or Not is one of the best looking games, the most immersive, most realistic games I think out there on the market, if not the most realistic looking game. The closer you get to that realism, the more intense those scenes are going to be. Like, personally, there are actually some levels in Ready or Not that I'm not going to play because of the emotional connection I have with my kids. I just refuse to play it. I'm not going to say censor it for sure, but like, I'm just going to avoid that, and that's okay. That's all right. But that's just, they do such a good job of telling the stories and telling the difficult things that law enforcement agents experience that I feel it, right? I still feel it despite not seeing anything incredibly graphic. There's just so much going on in the level that it does the job without me needing to see a little extra. It really is. It's going to do okay. You're going to be okay. If you bought it because you expected to see flinging appendages, you can get on other websites to do that. I don't know. I'm not mad at the changes. They're minor. I'm worried about the standard it sets for future stuff. Fair. That's fair. But we've already seen them to one extent push back against some of that. And this is so minor that I think that we need to give them a little bit of grace. I think that that's a good idea. I think that they've earned it. I think that they went quiet with all their development, and then all of a sudden they released a very, very good game. Ready or Not is a very good game. And to pretend like it's not, and to do stuff like this, is just, I mean, silly. It's like, can we agree it's silly? Can we just agree on that, please? Oh man. While Ready or Not retains a mostly positive overall review rating on Steam, recent reviews are mixed as a result of the flood of negative comments. Void has yet to respond publicly to the complaints. IGN asked for comment. Truthfully, I wouldn't say anything. I would let it go. I wouldn't say anything at all. And I would just let it ride, because it doesn't matter. Because it's going to go M, and it doesn't matter. Truthfully. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why people are so upset at this. For the life of me, I do not understand why this is a huge deal for people. Because, like, do you want, like, one comment I said, everyone has to suffer. I read this. Everyone has to suffer because console gamers, PC gamers have to suffer because of console gamers. Brother, you're not suffering. Just, all right, that's enough of that. So, Ready or Not was briefly hauled offline in 2022 after a takedown request was issued due to a trademark dispute. Excuse me. The issue related to a level that depicted mass shooting in a nightclub called Prism that was released on the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting. Oh yeah. See, so they're not. Look, man, they're not shying away from these things. It's just the minor little changes, okay? Vicky, thank you so much for your report at IGN. I truly appreciate what you've done here. But I don't know. Just I just want. Oh, come on! I can't even. My mouse. Maybe I need a new mouse. I need a new computer, I think. So if anyone knows any, or if anyone wants to sponsor a computer thing, I'll totally do a new computer. It's stressing me out sometimes. Could use a laptop to a lot of stuff, man. But yeah. What do you guys think? What do you the listeners? I have about 8 people here. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on it? If you have a counterpoint, I would love to hear that. I know that there's the um kind of the standard that it sets for the future, and I get that. But if these are the only changes needed, it should be okay. I mean, it really, like, they're not taking out any levels for people as far as we know. I mean, it could be that once the game gets here, it's going to be way, way different. It could, and they just were preparing people. But if they're going to get backlash like this, and they knew it, they probably should have just put all their cards on the table. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Also, like the stream if you like it. Don't if you don't. Subscribe if you want more stuff like this. I'll be streaming here a couple days a week, or trying to anyway. We'll see. But that's sort of all the gaming news that I have. Oh, there's a game coming out next week called Striden. I don't know. Any game recommendations to look at? I saw Big Fry was doing this the other day on his stream. I saw a couple of his videos this morning, and thought that'd be a good idea too. I'm just going to become a live streamer and kind of enjoy peoples and stuff right now. Just enjoy chatting. I just read the problem that's been happening. The Reddit is saying that they're doing this to please the console corporates. Sort of. But it's if you look at it in that perspective, sure. Right? Because they want to get an M rating. So I don't know if how long you've been following along Hassan Rex, but what they've done is to get an M rating, they've changed very minimal things. They show less skin. You can't explode people once they're already dead, and like you can't blow their arms off, and they've stopped a little girl from convulsing. So that's the general thing. It's all right, man. It's all right. I'll have a small video about it, I'm sure. Anyway, but they did that so that there would be an M rating. So if you look at it as like, oh, they're just trying to appease the console corporates. Technically, yes. However, also still trying to get it to have a successful console release so other people can experience in my opinion, what a great game Ready or Not is. I think Ready or Not is just a great game. I wish they would have multiplayer in it still, but I don't know if that's ever going to come. But that's what I really wish. But that's the lowdown. If you want to go back like 15 minutes in the stream, you could probably I talk about it a little bit more. And I just want people to breathe. Like, I just want people to, I want people to have a little bit of grace, because Ready or Not has done a very good job to earn the trust back of people. And then, and I also want a lot of other people to enjoy games that we get to enjoy on PC. So I want people to enjoy good games. Let's see. The removing of nudity on the girls and blood on the informant are inconsequential, but I don't agree with removing postmortem dismemberment. Ruins immersion. Still, I'd be fine with it. Yeah, I don't. Are you, Master Chief? Are you okay? You gotta be real with me, man. How often are you shooting off limbs of dead people on the ground? Oh, that's not a problem at all. It was extremely disturbing, but that was the bread and butter of Ready or Not. At the same time, it's way more extreme for the newcomers. Yeah, it's more extreme than what they're gonna get on consoles in general. But I think here's my thought. I think that because Ready or Not does such a good job at environmental storytelling, not just those specific moments hit hard, but like their overall environment and the things going on around, and the intensity that those suspects bring, that the decisions that you got to make bring. I think they do a good enough job with that this is still going to nothing, hardly anything, I guess, has changed with the experience. A few minor things that maybe won't hit quite as hard, but it's still, to have this on consoles, a couple of kids, more than a couple, a lot of kids are going to get in trouble playing this in the living room. I assure you, they will be in trouble. Let's see what else. The convulsing girl sleeping now changes the narrative a lot. But, like, does it, though? I mean, you come in, I don't know, 10 minutes later, 10 minutes sooner. How long does a mission take? And how long is she convulsing for? So, like, in a real world, she's probably not going to convulse more than a couple of minutes. Like, if we're looking at this from a seizure perspective, 5 minutes means like it's a very, very severe seizure, and the mission itself you're going to take 15 minutes to get upstairs. So, like, there's a chance that you're not even going to see a seizure in real life. So, like, maybe it doesn't hit as hard, but it still portrays a message that this poor girl, man, what the heck has been going on? After some updates that's been happening before this whole thing, the deaths were so realistic and disturbing. Even I, a first-person shooter, kind of got disturbed by this. Yeah, so I said this earlier too, that I actually I don't. There are a couple of missions I avoid because the storytelling is so good, and my connection, like my emotional connection with my kids and my wife and stuff, are just. I don't want to feel some things that the game tells me to feel, or makes me feel, I should say. I don't really want to have to do that. It's not ideal. It doesn't it doesn't feel good, and it makes me. If a game can make me sad, it does a very good job. And this game has made me sad before. So, that's just my 2 cents with that. I think they do such a good job anyway that I don't think that it's going to be a big deal. Also, Master Chief, get yourself checked out, man. I'm just kidding. I played a game. Oh shoot, what was it? Trepang 2. You ever played Trepang 2? That game has great dismemberment, and I've done the same thing. It's just you take a shotgun, you take a spaz to some guys, especially when they're down. You find a brain, but it's nowhere near as realistic as Ready or Not, right? So that's the big difference here. I've got a lot of things on my wish list. I've got a lot of like indie titles on my wish list that I didn't really expect to ever have on here, but like I was going through a phase where I was trying to be like, okay, what should I do with my content? And I was like, horror sounds good, right? So, well, I agree with that, but there's presentation versus reality. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. Sometimes the convulsing girl was supposed to be shock factor. Yeah, I agree. And she was. It was a shock factor. But to tone with everything that the game offers, to tone that specific area down, I really personally I don't think that that's that big a deal. Right? I am willing to give them some grace on that. I just think and you know, look, here, let me bring myself back here. It's okay. Here's the thing. It's okay to disagree. I disagree with the being so angry or not. I disagree with the fact that it needed to stay the same and you wish it stayed the same. I get it. What I don't get is everybody's actually emotionally involved in and angry and review bombing it for that specific purpose. Because I think truthfully I just think that part's kind of just childish. I don't see the point in that. And I think to not, I don't know, to have it affect your life that much that you gotta do that. I just think that's silly, man. I really do. I don't think it does. I don't think it's going to change it either. It's not like they're going to be like, you know what? We've got some bad reviews. We are certainly going to just make it adults only and not get more than 100,000 sales, maybe. So I don't It is what it is. The biggest thing, though, like, the biggest thing is not, like, the people that want it now would buy it regardless of the rating. The biggest thing is that it's not gonna be shown on, like, the store. It's not gonna be shown on downloads. So, that's the biggest reason why to do that, because it's just not gonna be presented in front of people, that free advertisement or that games you might be interested in, you know, the recommended, stuff like that. So, I get it. Let's take a look at some of the games coming out. What's coming out in the future here? I'm more than happy to talk about that more, by the way. I just figured I'd take a look here. Is there new releases? Where is that? Deep discounts, my wish list. I'd like a Steam Deck, man. Steam Decks would be kind of cool. Just to progress would probably help me. There we go. Popular new releases. What's this thing here? So that's an anime for some reason. Bunch of goobers. Change is good as long as it doesn't ruin the game mechanics or deeply affect the story, which it doesn't affect that much in my opinion. Yeah, I really don't think it's going to affect that much. I think this is just another wave that's just going to be gone soon. I don't think it's going to matter that much to people. And a lot of people are going to get to enjoy the game because of it. So I'm happy with that. Broken Arrow. Has anyone played Broken Arrow? I really the RTS stuff I don't play a ton of. By a ton, I don't play any of. I wish I could. I used to play Age of Empires, and that was cool. But sadly, I just don't play many games for many other games other than first-person shooters. And that just, it is what it is. All new releases. Let's take a look here. What we got? What we got? Anything looking good? Anything coming out that I should be aware of? I need to get... I've heard Rematch is a good game. I know you're a shooter kind of guy, but I thought I'd say it. What's Rematch here? The Forgive Me Father games are on my wish list. I think I have that. Is there another one coming out? They look fun. I think I got it because I think the developers gave it to us, but I don't think I've ever played it. What's the other game? Rematch, you said? Rematch. Oh, is this... Oh, it's soccer. Football. Sorry, football. Let's see if I have Forgive Me Father. I think I have Forgive Me Father 2, actually. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's just one. Oh, no, I do. I have Forgive Me Father 2. But I've never played it. But they certainly look interesting. There's only 2. No new ones. Oh. Yeah, it's a very cool art style. The hard part about these games is like if I don't get them when they come out right away, and it's been hard to get to games that come out right away, then they're just then I just can never get to them, unfortunately. But I'm sorry, I just wanted to recommend that. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. You can like soccer games, football games, assuming you're from football world. I don't know. We just call it soccer. My kids are joining soccer this fall. I'm excited about that. Lovecraftian horror has an interesting art style. Yes, and I really like Lovecraftian horror. I like watching IGP because of it, or more so listening. I don't watch a ton of IGP anymore, but like I do like to listen to different stories and how he explains his gameplay because I do a lot of driving now, so I listen to a lot of stuff. But I've always liked how IGP sort of goes through those Lovecraftian horror things. It's very, very intriguing to me. I watch a lot of the Y-Files too, if you've seen that. I'm a conspiracy theory kind of guy. I really like that stuff. I think, yeah, Mouse for Hire. It's not out yet. It's coming soon, isn't it? The Precinct? What's the Precinct? What is that? I've heard of that. Oh, yeah. This is the one. This is the one Fry really enjoyed. I've heard a lot of good things about this thing. And it had a good campaign, a good length too. They were very satisfied. I heard a lot of good things. Precinct is awesome. It's got a cool, I mean, it's got a cool art style. It's got a kind of a cool idea there. One game that I want to try, if you haven't heard of it, is Suit for Hire. I have it, but I have not played it. But it reminds me a lot of like the Matrix. It did just come out in 1.0. So I'm gonna do the trailer here. But do you remember Enter the Matrix? That was one of my favorite games. All right, hang on. Let me make sure this is going to... Oh, hang on. I have to make sure that it goes to the speakers here. I got to get my settings right. It's like John Wick. Yeah. It just released not too long ago. Let me get this out of the way. Hang on. Got to do sound stuff. Probably shouldn't have shown that. Where is it? Sorry, I use Elgato's like sound stuff and trying to get this here. Steam. Let's make it go to game. No. Then let's make it go to system. System. There we go. All right, let's take a look at this here. Suit for Hire. Reminds me a lot of Matrix. Ready? Look at that. You've got slow motion, and this is like the over the shoulder. There is that top down approach too, which is kind of cool. I need to look at those headshots. You got slow-mo, or like the old Max Payne kind of. But I used to love those Matrix games, man. What a blast those were. Look at that, man. That looks so much fun. I need to play this game. Homie's got great aim. This is actually made by the guy. If you remember the old well, the Day Before. He made that Day Before trailer. And it went like viral because he's like, this is how easy it was to make the Day Before trailer. And so he did that and kind of popped off, but this is the guy that made that. Yeah, I think with the 1.0 it released, because this was only third person for a while, but I think with the 1.0 it released with this third person. Yep. Tons of new levels, new executions, new settings, quality of life. I really need to play this. Suit for Hire. Cool. That looks like a fun game. I got it for free from him because I really wanted to show it off, but I just never got the chance to do it. Things just slowed down. But time is it? 10:45? Yeah. All right. You know what? This was fun. I'm gonna sign off here. But I appreciate you, Hassan, sticking around, and Master Chief, and anybody else around. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed the stream, definitely hit that like button. It helps me out. I will be doing news updates like this more frequently, so definitely subscribe, have the notifications on if you want to join us for streams and stuff. And I don't know, just thanks for stopping in. I love this. I like this casual interaction here. So thank you guys. Have a good rest of your week. And if you're in America, happy 4th of July. We're going on a vacation, so I am excited. But I will see y'all in the next one. Peace. See you, Max.